Hello, I'm a Roblox YouTuber. My name is Laddie. I'm gonna try and make this intro very quick. Now that I realize that that's not really gonna be possible. Alright, anyways. So, yeah, this is another Forsaken Concept Killer idea. Yippee, yahoo! Yeah, this one, it's sorry for taking so long on this one, but it's really cool. It's really cool. So, a little bit of context for this. One thing that's always kind of pissed me off is Noli. Ever since he released, he's kind of pissed me off. And it's not like I have a problem going against him. It's what he had the potential to become. He was advertised as a trickster. He had the whole hallucination deal, which in theory is a really cool mechanic. But then his entire kit doesn't really use the hallucinations in any way. It's kind of just like a separate thing. It feels like they didn't really think about the hallucinations when designing Noli. Like they didn't think about how it would synergize with his kit. So that it's always kind of pissed me off. And I wanted to bring justice to that. That's why I have created an actual trickster killer that you have to rely on your tricks to kill the survivors. And yeah, that's it. All right. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So, the name of this killer is Nyx. It's spelt Nyx. Yeah. Okay, let's first start with his stats. He is a 4-star killer. He has 1,666 health. His regular walking speed is 7.75. His sprinting speed is 26.5. His maximum stamina is 110. He has a stamina loss per second of 9.5, stamina gain per second of 21, and he has a terror radius of 60 studs. So, after listening to me talk about that, you might be like, that is terrible sprinting speed and walking speed. And you would be right. But that is intentional. I really wanted to make a killer that absolutely has to rely on his tricks to kill people. A true trickster killer. Like, if he doesn't try and trick people, he will lose the round. Alright, let's move on to his his only passive. And this passive won't really make sense until you've heard the rest of the kit. And even then, it's kind of confusing, so I'll explain more in depth in it when we get to the part where it comes into play with this moveset. His passive is called Mental Awareness. All survivors that are within 30 studs of Nyx that are affected with Falsehood, which I'll get to it, it's a new effect, Nyx will be able to see their current point of view. So, not in the way you're thinking, it won't switch cameras with them, but you'll see. Alright, let's just explain his M1 first. His first ability is called Brutal Strike. It has a cooldown of 1.50 seconds. It does 25 damage. It has a windup of 0.3 seconds. It lingers for 25 seconds, not 75 seconds. It has a length of 7.5 studs, and yeah, it's a pretty standard M1. Not much to really say here. His first real ability is called Disorientating Blow. And it has a cooldown of 23 seconds. It does 10 damage, and Nyx uses the bat on his back and lunges forward. When hit, the survivor will gain Confusion 1 for 10 seconds, which, if you don't know, Confusion 1 is basically your controls are reversed. So, so the way this works, it's kind of like Behead, except with a bit more range. Probably maybe about a quarter of walk speed overrides distance, a quarter of that. So it's like Behead but with more range. You like lunge farther forward. Alright, let's move on to his first really interesting ability. Voracious Manipulation. It has a cooldown of 10 seconds. Nyx uses the eye floating above his head, and can wall off set gateways around the map. Like, there are certain chosen positions, set by the developers, where you can place down these walls. However, Nyx can only set wall-off gateways close to him, so he has to physically walk over to the set gateway and place it down. And he can only wall off 4 gateways at a time, so he can only place 4 walls. These walls are highlighted for 3 seconds after being placed. They're highlighted for the survivors. These walls will fade automatically after 100 seconds. Nyx will be made aware when a wall has disappeared. Like, it'll like highlight it for him specifically when it disappears. Nyx is also capable of walking through the walls he has placed. So, when you think about this, it really just kind of sounds like a less interesting, like a less versatile version of Corrupt Energy. It places on, but it's a lot more than that, as you'll see. A lot of these earlier abilities won't make much sense without the knowledge of his later abilities. Alright, let's move on to his third move? Yeah, third. Reality Distortion. Nyx manifests a small amount of red energy into his hands before releasing it outwards, afflicting all survivors with the effect Falsehood for 50 seconds. Falsehood is an effect exclusively used by Nyx, and the effects are as follows. The walls placed in gateways by Nyx using Voracious Manipulation have a 50-50 chance of not appearing on the survivor's screen. So basically what that means is it could disappear, but it's actually still there. So it will rely on the survivor's memory if Nyx placed a wall there. And the whole goal is to try and move the survivors towards this wall. Okay, I'll explain the rest of it, but yeah, the whole goal is to move the survivors towards these walls, to kind of trap them in. And using this, they might not have the awareness of, where the wall is. So they have to remember the wall is, and when they try and go through it, they could think, oh, it's disappeared, right? But no. If they try and walk through it, it just won't work. It will when a falsehood is active, it will also place a few fake walls, not placed by Nyx, to appear. So walls you'll think are there, it'll show that there's walls there, but in reality there actually isn't. Fake walls will have a slight red gas effect emanating from them. So, and this is where that previous passive that I mentioned, Mental Awareness, comes into play. So, Nyx will basically be able to see what the survivor is seeing. If the survivor sees a false wall in a nearby gateway, he will be able to see that false wall as well. Except he will know, I didn't place that, if he remembers, because Nyx you'll have to have a lot of memory to use Nyx. So, his whole playstyle is focused on, tricking the survivors into going towards walls before going in for the killing blow. And disorientating blow is just a way to confirm a kill. So, yeah. Alright, he has one more move, though. Sanguinary Concealment. Nyx's eye that floats above his head comes down into his hands, revealing all survivors' auras in the process. Nyx can then select one of the living survivors and swap positions with the chosen survivor, shifting into the survivor that was selected for 25 seconds. So, he'll look like that survivor. Nyx cannot use any abilities while shifted, so he can't use any of his own abilities. He can use the survivor's fake abilities, except they won't do anything. For example, if he shifts into an Elliot and throws a pizza at somebody, it won't heal them. He cannot but he can return to his actual form early. So, he doesn't have to wait the full 25 seconds before turning back into a killer. There are differences between a normal survivor and a survivor that Nyx has shifted into, as there will be a variety of subtle sound effects that play when nearby a shifted survivor. So this is his reveal move, but also kind of a trick. You're not going to be able to trust your allies, because one of them could be Nyx. So yeah, that's basically the entire concept. His whole playstyle relies on tricking people with falsehood to go towards his walls, and, confirming a kill using disorientating blow. So yeah, he's a very tactical killer. He's very interesting to me. Like, none of his abilities do damage, but that doesn't matter. It's very strategical. It's very strategical. Alright, now let's talk about his lore really quick. So, Nyx used to be just a normal person. He lives in his world. He was drafted. There was a war going on, and he was worried about being drafted. He was afraid. He was a coward. And in result of this, he decided to get enough power to decide so that he would never die on the battlefield. He summoned a god. He summoned the god of darkness to give him power. The god of darkness agreed, except he said that the more time Nyx would use this power, or well, that wasn't his name yet, but the more time that he would use his power, the more things that would be taken from him. He thought he would be okay with that. So, once he gained his power, he shifted into his current form. He went off to war and became a great hero. He was unstoppable on the battlefield using the abilities that the god had given him. However, he kept taking and taking, and when eventually Nyx returned from, the god kept taking and taking as a price for, the power that Nyx had been given. So eventually, when Nyx returned home from the war, he found out that the god had taken his a great thing from him. His god, in payment for all the power that the god had lent him, he had killed his brother. He had taken his brother and, killed him, the god. So, Nyx was furious after this. After that, the god had underestimated how much power he had given Nyx. So in a fit of blind rage, he murdered the god. But without the god's existence, his entire world started to collapse. After this, he had no real meaning to live for. After he had managed to escape his entire world being collapsed, but he had no meaning. That's when he was forsaken. He had been given a meaning by the Spectre, even if it was a pretty bad one, just to kill the survivors. So, yeah, that's his lore. Alright, I think that'll be all for this video. Sorry if this was kind of complicated and if I stuttered a bit. I do not have a script for this video, if you couldn't already tell. But, yeah, I hope you guys once again, this is a video that I really want feedback on, because I hope I improved and made something balanced compared to my last killer that I made. So, yeah, comment, your opinion on this killer concept, and yeah, if you enjoyed the video, maybe consider liking and subscribing. Oh yeah, also, you can give me money now. You can become a member, and you can do super chats, so do that if you're insane, I guess. And yeah, I think that's it. I'll catch you all in the next one.